Hello, friends, and happy Wednesday. Welcome to today's live level up discussion and conversation. Whether you're tuning in live or catching me on replay, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Happy Wednesday. Let's dive right in.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Market update. Speed round. Award-winning financial pro. And now, get ready. I present to you Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday. I am Winnie Sun, your host, an award winning financial pro, a Forbes contributor, and a CNBC council member. It's just so awesome to be here on this beautiful Wednesday. We are streaming here live on many different social media platforms. So do me a favor, jump in, come and introduce yourself. Let's have some fun here, right? Well, first off, let's take a look at where the market is. It hasn't closed yet. We've got a couple more hours to that. But currently, across the board, we are in the red. In fact, before I jumped on and went live with you, some of it was in the green, with some tiny bit of positive territory, but right now, unfortunately, that's not the case. The Dow is currently down 1 point, not quite two, so it's not terrible. Nasdaq is down 10 points as well, and the S&P 500 is down 3. So you could just say it's down a smidge across the board. But everybody's sort of watching to see what the Federal Reserve is going to do today. Really, sort of that impending decision on interest rates and how they're going to mitigate how the inflation numbers look. So, the stock market's been pretty rocky today, negative territory. Hopefully, it improves. Hopefully, the Fed gives us something to cheer and feel comfortable about. That hopefully, the interest rates will get adjusted sooner rather than later, and then people can feel better as we head into the elections in November. So lots of things happening. A lot of people are watching whether or not inflation is getting healthier, interest rates going to go lower, and of course, also if there's going to be more growth in the future. In fact, technology prior to us going on, starting the show was actually looking pretty good today as well. All right. So it's been a little bit of a tech AI rally, but hopefully even more so the overall market improves so that those of you who are investing, you can feel good as we go into the weekend, right? So I want to share with you a story that's sort of sparking all the news. And this is about Elon Musk and his big move in the area of artificial intelligence. I mean, you got to give credit where credit due. Elon Musk he's definitely a smart guy. He's made some big decisions and big moves in the past, and now he wants to tackle AI. Now he's unveiling something called Grok's code to spark innovation, and of course, it's bringing a lot of debate on both sides of the table. So I want to share this story with you. This in particular is one that I read on the New York Times by Kate Conger and Kate Metz's great article talking about a significant move within artificial intelligence by many tech companies. And certainly Elon Musk is not participating here. He's definitely all in. In fact, he has created what he calls an open source and the code behind something called Grok, which is an AI chatbot from his company XAI. Now, this is here to challenge industry norms and, of course, to step on the gas and give even, or step on electricity maybe, to give on even more competition in the AI sector. Now, this is, of course, designed to mirror the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So this is where the term Grok comes from. Grok is built to provide users, you and I, with this funny, sharp humor that if you're familiar with the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you know this humor. This is sort of reflecting on Elon's vision of just a more engaging, more fun, entertaining AI experience. But the thing that is up for debate isn't the humor. The humor, I mean, I think all of us agree, a little bit of fun in life is good. Makes things more manageable, especially technology, right? But Elon is talking about really making sure that that there is open source coding, right? That people will be able to have access to this AI technology and be able to help build on it to advance the technology. I think we could all agree that if humans were all kind and fair and truthful and ethical, that this would be a great idea. Because some of the sort of debate on this is sort of this legal battle between Elon and OpenAI about how, Elon is suing OpenAI for not open sourcing its technology, which he thinks is really essential for advancements in artificial intelligence, and that it really shouldn't be monopolized by tech giants. Now, that in itself, I think we could agree would be great. Now, the question and the problem with AI is that there's a lot of concerns with AI, with we've seen with fake news, we've seen the speed of technology, and this can quickly turn from being a really happy, sharing, kumbaya, let's come together to, oh wow, this is bad, this is scary, this could be dangerous. So the tech community is really split over the approach to artificial intelligence development, with some who are saying, yeah, we are all in about openness to foster innovation, bringing people together. And then there's others saying, well, you know what? We got to worry about the potential dangers of widespread access. And I would say this, and I want to get your feedback on this. Jump in, give me your comments about this. But I think that we could agree what we do in the United States, perhaps we are able to limit, you know, open source, and perhaps we can put limits on fake news to a certain extent and bad things happening in the United States. But we can't really do that outside of our borders, can we? Right? And there's obviously a lot of people, a lot of countries, a lot of cultures, a lot of groups that may not have that same ethical standard that we're hoping to achieve here in the United States with artificial intelligence. I don't know what the answer is. I'm just asking the question. And I think that's important for us to think about too. So, Elon and some of the other proponents are citing ethical reasons for open sourcing. And critics are saying, well, there could be business strategies involved here. And so it's not so black and white. It's something that needs to be discussed, analyzed, evaluated, and really more communication needs to take into account. And so this disruption to the market and challenging companies like Google and OpenAI and Microsoft, that this still needs to be flushed out before that can be decided on. So I bridge the question to you. For those of you who are with me live or you've watched on replay, what are your thoughts on this? Do you love the idea of this being open source and that's this technology and information will be really available to all of us, I guess? Or do you feel like it's issues like this that you might have some concerns and you might feel like maybe it's not all one direction, not completely locked down, not completely open source, but maybe something in the middle? Or do you think, yeah, this needs to be locked down and there needs to be more provisions? And in this case, just like maybe with banking and maybe the healthcare industry, I can see how compliance and regulation would be beneficial for humanity. Yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I think that's really important for us as we continue to witness and follow and see how AI develops and this technology trickles down into multiple industries. I think these are the questions that you and I need to think about for ourselves, our families, and more financial futures too. So okay, so next story though I want to share with you as we segue is not that far from Elon Musk. In fact, this is a story coming out of Hertz. Now, for those of you who've traveled in the past or even travel now, you might be renting a Hertz rent-a-car. Well, Hertz's CEO is stepping down. And this is sort of not a new thing because this is the fifth new CEO or fifth leadership change, I should say, in 4 years. So the CEO, Steven Scher, is stepping down as CEO of Hertz, and Gil West, who was previously at Delta Airlines and General Motors Cruise, is now going to take over Hertz rental car. So Hertz, unfortunately, did make some missteps. Now, those of you who are with me live, when you hear this story, you might be like me and like, I'm not sure why they did this, but here's what Hertz did. I mean, hindsight is always 2020. So I'm sure during that moment, it must have felt as exciting as a discussion of AI. And like, oh, we got to go all in because this sounds great. Well, Hertz made a very ambitious plan to integrate electric vehicles into its fleet of rental cars, which, by the way, led to a $245 million loss for the company. This is prompting a significant reduction of its electric vehicles inventory. So the next time you go rent a car from Hertz, you probably won't see as many electric vehicles after this sort of shakeup, if you will. So despite a 40% surge of US electric vehicle purchases, but Hertz's resale values really plummeted due to, unfortunately, Tesla initiating a price war, and this unfortunately made Hertz's car sales of used electric vehicles like just completely fall. So critics are citing sort of poor execution and marketing of Hertz rental cars. But as someone who drives an electric vehicle myself, I don't know about you, but like I probably would be okay. I would be fine actually renting an electric vehicle when I travel. But that's because I own an electric vehicle and I know where to get it charged and I know like the pros and cons of traveling with an electric vehicle. But I would think that for many people, when they're traveling, the last thing they want to worry about is sitting at a charging station for 30 minutes or more to make sure they have enough electricity to get from point A to point B. Not to mention, many people do road trips. Many people would rather spend times looking at, sites and like maybe the beach and other things when you're traveling, and maybe sitting at a charging station for a longer period of time than it would to pull through the gas station may not be on your list of travel must-haves. I'm not saying everybody. I know many of you out there who follow me here. I know I've gotten comments from you, very green, eco-friendly. You really want to sort of help the environment, and that's great. But I think that what they found with this I would say, test, right, of bringing all these electric vehicles to Hertz, that not all travelers feel this way, or not everybody that is renting a car from Hertz, maybe this customer base feels that way. So the lack of adequate charging infrastructure definitely was something that they cited as a potential issue. And of course, user-friendly policies may have also deterred people from renting electric vehicles, and therefore Hertz faced significant financial losses, and nonetheless, the CEO is out. So, yeah. So I'm sorry that happened. Hopefully, everything will be better in the future, and most importantly, hopefully, the charging can speed up and more people can enjoy electric vehicles. As someone who owns one, I want to say I love driving mine, but not everybody does. Now let's segue to my last story. And this one is a big one, especially for those of you who own a home, maybe have considered buying a new home or looking at one in the future, and maybe saying that one day I want to be a homeowner, but I just want to make sure I'm comfortable with the cost. This actually could be good news. This is actually a big thing, okay? Huge thing, in fact. There's now a shift to more competitive brokerage fees for purchasing and selling real estate. This was a story that came out of CNN by David Goldman. Okay, this is a major lawsuit settlement, which marks a significant turning point for the US real estate market, which promises more transparency and flexibility in brokerage fees when you buy or sell real estate. Now, I'm guessing this is going to include both residential and commercial real estate, but this is posing for challenges not only for brokers or realtors that sell properties, but they say this could also be impactful to home buyers as well. I mean, anytime you're dealing with something that you're spending money on and you want to know what's happening. So this is a historic antitrust settlement. In fact, a $418 million settlement against the National Association of Realtors, or the NAR. This is set to revolutionize, they say, the U.S. housing market by July, now pending judicial approval, of course. Now, this settlement is targeting the NAR's long-standing practice of sort of that standard 6% commission, 3% on the buyer side, 3% on the seller side. This is a lot for a one-time transaction of purchasing a home, right? Now, that being said, if you've been to websites like Redfin, there are also discount brokers out there, so you don't necessarily have to pay full tilt. And as someone who, my parents were both in the real estate industry, and I can tell you for a fact that although 6% may be sort of standard in some markets, they were definitely up for negotiation. And you could discuss with your realtor or broker about getting those fees down. But perhaps this is going to take it to a whole new level. So sellers will now have the flexibility to shop for better brokerage rates, and buyers might also face new payment models for their brokers. So that helps move away from the practice of just wrapping the commission costs into the mortgage payments, which we know and has in the past put financial pressures for people who were buying maybe their first property or their second property. It just didn't seem as transparent and maybe it just didn't feel as fair. Well, that now is up for discussion. It looks like this could be dramatically changed and by the end of the year. So the adjustment of brokerage fees is expected to decrease sort of the overall cost of purchasing a home for you by thousands of dollars on average. And the real estate commissions could potentially be falling anywhere between 25 to 50%. So that's very significant. The shift is really to give you a more competitive commission model, which of course could introduce, they're saying, complexities for buyers. But I don't think I would worry so much about that. My take is this. I think anytime there's more transparency, especially like a situation where it's a one-time transaction for many people. For many people, you're not spending months and months with your realtor. Once the deal is done, usually you'll come back when you need to sell your property or buy the property. So it's really a sort of transactional, somewhat like, other relationships you might have, like let's say getting your living trust done. It's a one-time thing. So I do think if there can be some adjustment in the commission process or selling, certainly not good news for those in the real estate industry. But for a buyer or seller, it could be beneficial because it means that they would be able to keep more of the proceeds of the sale if a seller. And for a buyer, perhaps it means that you could actually get the price down a little bit. I don't know. It's wait to see. I would love to see your feeling about that. I'm seeing a lot of comments coming in. I see Joshua. I see CrossFit Fighter. Happy Wednesday to you as well. Thank you so much. Vicky is talking about electric vehicles or car. Electric cars are great, but not great if you can't charge them easily, especially with outages. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, Vicky, for sharing that as well. I see a lot of comments coming in, and thank you so much for being a part of today's live show. Now, for that, I want to continue on this. So with the anticipation of these changes, we are already seeing impact on many real estate companies, sort of forecasting of what they're going to do in the future. So with that, I've got more stories to share with you, of course, later this week. I got actually a story coming up that I want to talk to you about Sports Illustrated and what's going to happen. Sports Illustrated is going to have some big impact on their print and digital properties. And I have more to share with that in the coming week this week. But with that, I want to tell you, today's Wednesday, which means we can continue to have discussions on business topics. And today we're having a big topic on Twitter, which is now X. And if you follow hashtag Winnie Sun, and this is going to be 11 a.m. Pacific, which is 2 p.m. if you're joining us on the East Coast, 2 p.m. Eastern. All you have to do is jump on X, follow hashtag Winnie Sun, and we're going to have a discussion about entrepreneurship, about being entrepreneurship, or even having that entrepreneurship mindset in the year of 2024. We have a lot of people coming to talk about this topic. We have about 14 questions. Come and join us. Come and meet some friends. All you have to do is do a search for hashtag Winnie Sun. I'm going to be jumping in about like 10, 15 minutes prior to 11 a.m. or 2 p.m. Eastern, depending where you are. So jump in, come and talk to us, and let's have a discussion about entrepreneurship and business strategies. I might even be quoting some of the comments that are coming in. So if you haven't joined us on the tweet chat, I definitely welcome you and I personally invite you to join us. I want to say a big shout out and thank you so much for Vicky and Joshua and all our friends who have been sharing our show. I hope to see you very soon. Of course, we'll be coming back later this week for more stories and keeping you on top of all things business finance. Be well, take care, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye now.